And we are fired up to get to the Rude Guest Hotline and talk to our friend, Mr. David Aldridge from The Athletic. DA, what's up, dude? How are you?
Gentlemen, what's going on?
We're chilling, Dave.
I
We're
need
at the time of the year where we don't have a lot to talk about in this area. Say it like that.
Usually, yeah, we've been looking at college drafts for 3 months usually, right?
Feels great not to be. DA, I want to start with perhaps the most underreported story coming out of Philadelphia on Sunday. That you got stuck in the press area and couldn't get out of the building.
Dude, David Harrison saved me, man.
Wait. He got stuck in that press area?
Bro, getting out of stadiums at night is always really difficult. In Detroit, I kind of got stuck for a little while, and DA got stuck.
So, BMitch, when you go into the link, you go into this, it's like this high, they got all these high gates all around the stadium, right?
Yeah.
Which I understand, right? But the problem is this gate is enclosed. So it's open before the game, and you walk in and you go into the, through the little door entranceway, and you go through the metal detectors, and then you're in the stadium, and you go up to the press room. But after the game, BMitch, they lock the gates.
Oh, wow.
And then I come out through the press entrance, and the door's locked behind you.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like, so I come out, the door locks behind me. I go to the gate where I came in. The gate is closed and is locked. So now I can't get through the gate, and the door behind me is locked. I'm stuck. I'm in a pen like a giraffe.
You got to go back to being a kid. You got to climb that gate, Dave.
Dude, I was looking at it. I was like, B, I had my bag with me. I could probably do this by myself, but I don't know how I could do this with a bag on my shoulder. You know what I mean? And then thank God that there was an open door. There was another entranceway next door to this pen, and David Harrison, who covers the team and has been there all year, was walking out, and it's like, Dave,
help me.
You go
throw me a life raft.
Door. And so he went back in and opened the press door again, and I was able to get back out and go out through the other entranceway. So shout out to David Harrison, man. I might still be there, guys.
I love it.
I'm going to have to give you Big Dom's number. Call him next time.
Yeah, right.
I love it, man. All right, now that we've gotten the most underreported story from Philadelphia out of the way, let's get down to business. We're talking with our friend David Aldridge from The Athletic on the Rude Guest Hotline. DA, how do you best summarize what was just an incredible year for Washington?
I mean, it was just like, it's like a kid who's a genius and they get skipped a couple of grades. You know what I mean? Like hear about the 15-year-old kid that's at Harvard. You know what I mean?
Like Hauser.
Like, it's like that. It was like that because you're not expecting that, right? Nobody's expecting that. Like, y'all, I mean, nobody thought they were going to win 10 games, much less 14 if you count the 2 playoff wins, right? So, I think we were all like 7-10 would be a good start. You know what I mean? Like for a rebuild, 7, 8, 9, that'd be a pretty good start. That'd be a pretty successful season. So what they did, they took two or three steps further than we all expected they would, and I think it's obviously Jayden's the biggest part of that, for sure, no doubt about it. But it wasn't just Jayden. I just think these coaches, Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Witt, I mean, I think they just absolutely maxed out with the talent that they had. And part of that is due to them, and a large part of it is due to the players really all buying in, because guys you can be cynical about brotherhood and all that sort of thing. This is a business. My brother doesn't get cut if he doesn't perform well. You know what I mean? Like, he's not cut from being my brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's a little different, but they had as close a proximity as you could have in terms of guys really kind of buying in and all kind of pulling in the same direction in terms of chemistry and teamwork and all that sort of thing. So for the talent that they had, and it's good talent. It's not bad talent, but it's not dominant talent.
Yeah.
The Eagles have dominant talent. We saw dominant talent on the other side of football. You know what I mean? Saquon Barkley, dominant talent. Carter, dominant talent. Offensive line, dominant talent. A.J. Brown, dominant talent. You know what I mean? the Commanders aren't there yet. They have good talent, but they maxed out. They completely maxed out. Jayden Daniels dominant talent now, and that's the most important place to have a dominant player.
Dave, you said we had you on earlier this year. You said if Jayden Daniels just makes some plays to make you have those moments where you go, okay, I see why we drafted him. Yep. He exceeded that, and now Absolutely. They got to put the right people around him. What position you think they need to work with most? I'm looking at offensive line, defensive line.
Yeah, me too, BMitch. I mean, I think there's no secret. You win championships on the offensive and defensive lines with dominant players, right? Yeah. Like with players that make a difference, like that can flip a field with their play. I mean, the holes that Saquon had. Saquon's a great back. Okay, he would do it anyway, but he had monster holes to go through all day. In fact, every running back on their team had monster holes to go through, to run through. And Jalen had a lot of time. Most of the time, they got to him a couple of times, but for the most part, he had plenty of time to sit back there and pick the receiver he wanted to throw to. So it's no secret the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in football and one of the best defensive lines in football, and they're going to the Super Bowl. Kansas City's got one of the best defensive lines in football, one of the best offensive lines in football. They're going to the Super Bowl. So they need to fix the offensive line. They need to improve it. The guys they have are good. I think they have one really, really good player, and that's Biotis. He was terrific this year. He was terrific at center. That was a great free agent signing. And I think Sam Cosman, when he's healthy, is really good and is Pro Bowl level. So you've got, but now he's recovering from an ACL, and you don't know where he's going to be at the start of next season. So you have one, and when healthy, two, I think really, really good offensive linemen. And I think you need to look at upgrading the others, right? Like, and doesn't mean Brandon Coleman can't start, but maybe he's a right tackle instead of a left tackle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe Allegretti is a great swing backup guard instead of the starting guard. There's not saying cut them all, but I'm saying I think you have to upgrade, because when you have to constantly leave a back end to chip or constantly leave a tight end to chip to help your tackles, that's one less guy out in the pattern. That's one less guy for Jayden to throw to. Yeah. And you want to maximize the ability for him to pick the open receiver and make the throw. He made plenty of them, so he can make all the throws. But to me, offensive line and defensive line are the places you have to start.
Talking with our friend David Aldridge from The Athletic. You can give DA a follow at David Aldridge DC on X and Instagram. I think they learned a lot about where they are going against Philly, who's just so big and strong and tough on both O-line and D-line.
Yeah.
But I also feel like we learned a lot that this team is now part of the playoff contenders. Like going forward, I think expectations are just going to be so significantly different. And there's a lot of reasons, but Jayden's in the middle of it.
He's the reason, right? Like we all understand where this is going. It's about the quarterback, right? And he showed you how he's a top 10 quarterback today, right? And whether you think he's top 8 or top 5, that's a matter of personal preference. But he's certainly the top 10. Yep. And when that's your starting point, that is a great point to start for a franchise. So now you have to build around him, like BMitch was saying. You have to put the pieces in place to help him supplement what he can do, because what he can do. And the other thing is you don't want to expose him to have to run as much. You want that run to be a threat that you use occasionally, not all the time, right? Like, so because, you don't want him taking unnecessary hits. So the better you can surround him with an offensive line that can run block, where you can run the ball a little bit more effectively and can pass protect, so that you only need 5, maybe 6 guys to pass pro, and you can send 4 or 5 guys out. Jayden's going to find the right guy. He's going to make the right decision. So you have to help him out in that regard. But he's the guy. He's the show.
Oh, he's shown that.
he's the reason why you have hope, because he makes throws and makes plays that win your football games.
Totally. You said this a couple weeks back, and I don't know if it was in the room or the press box or something. I feel like it might have been on radio. I was listening to you talking with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how long ago do the years of us trying to convince ourselves listen, if Fitz just doesn't turn it over that much, and this defense is really good, you know what I mean? Like the lies we told ourselves.
When you say if he doesn't turn it over that much, means he turns it over too much.
But Carson Wentz gets back to his Philly days, or maybe this is the year for Heineke, whatever. Like, it's been so long of this.
Right.
Case Keenum, whatever. Like, I got lots of names.
Oh, sure. Like, we actually had discussions about that, like serious ones. Like, but he's got, Taylor Heineke's got so much moxie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sam Howell's a tough kid. He may, he'll stand in there all day and wait for the guy to get open. You're actually having conversations about these guys. Right. As franchise quarterbacks, right? Because you're so desperate for one.
Right.
And so now you've got one, and you don't have to have that discussion anymore. Like, at least not for the foreseeable future. Like, you've got the guy that you can build around. And if you build right around him, he can take you to the Super Bowl. That's what you have now. Bro, you have a guy like that in the room.
He's been compared to rookies and all. Like, my thing is, I haven't seen many veterans with his poise.
No, right. No, you're right. I mean, he's on the way he kind of deals with the media. It certainly doesn't. It's not like I'm saying that's why he's a great quarterback, but you can tell that the unflappability, whether it's a good question, which you like to think everybody asks, or a dumb question, which occasionally does get asked, right? Like he handles them all the same. Like, and so you can tell the guy kind of is not like, he's not looking to score points or be funny or all those things. Like, he's just being a genuine he's trying to actually answer your question. You know what I mean? Like, and so, and you can sense that on the field too. Like, he kind of goes to the next play, no matter what happened on the last play. Like, even watching him, like, after the Hail Mary, like, he celebrated a little bit, but it's not like he was jumping up and down and diving in people's arms and getting on the pile at the end, in the end zone. No, he had his little fist pump, and then he went and shook Caleb Williams' hand. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't like tripping off of it, So that's what you want. And those are the traits that Peyton Manning has. Those are the traits that Joe Montana has. Those are the traits that all the Tom Brady had. All the great quarterbacks that I've known in the last 15, 20 years are unflappable. That's their trait. Even Mahomes seems unflappable. Like, he gets hurt, he gets dinged up, he limps to the huddle. He good for the next. Let's go next play. And I see a lot of that in Jayden already, and it's crazy. And he's a rookie. That's just crazy.
It's funny. I referenced this quote a lot. When Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart was asked to describe his test for obscenity back in 1964, he responded, "I know it when I see it." It's the same thing with a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, when it's real versus what we've been trying to convince ourselves.
Yeah. I say this all the time, and I mean it. I think offensive linemen are the truth tellers on every football team I've ever been around. I don't know why that is. But they're the ones that tell you the truth. Like, they'll tell you who's real and who's full of it, and they'll tell you. And I don't know if that's because they have to do so much. They have to know so much about the team and the offense. And they have to, and because they're bigger guys, their injuries are probably more painful, right? You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. But when veteran guys say, "I will block for that guy all day and twice on Sunday. I will do anything for that guy," because they know fakes and phonies behind center, right? And we've seen some of those in this town over the last 30 years,
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and when they say, "No, this is my quarterback. That's my dude right there," and they point to 5, that tells me all I need to know. When Sam Cosmi said that, when he signed that extension, he was like, "I came back here because of 5, because I want to play. I want to block for that guy. He's the real deal." And he came back for the money. I know that, but what I'm saying is that he said, I believe in that guy," and he was a rookie then. Like, he hadn't even been on the field for real yet. Like so. So that's what they saw in OTAs, and they saw it in camp. And when that continued through the season, and Allegretti says it, and Wiley says it, and Biadasz says it, and Brandon Coleman says it, and they all say it, independent of one another. That tells me all I need to know about how real Jayden Daniels is.
Totally. What's funny is I just had this moment of clarity. I've said it a million times on the show, and I've said it to be that the two position groups I always enjoy talking to the most are O-line and DBs. And O-line is because I think you get the most actual insight into football. And DBs is because they're just the most irrationally confident people on the planet.
Right.
But, dude, I think I got that O-line. I think, like, back in the way back of my brain, I feel like I remember you and Tony always talking to O-linemen in the locker room. Back on, like, Tony's radio show when B would come on after him with John Thompson. Like, I think that is ingrained in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, always. I mean, back in the day, you talk to Jim Lachey, you talk to Bostic, you talk to Rollo McKenzie. Like, those are the guys that know. When you want to know about a dude, you ask an old lineman. They'll tell you. They'll tell you what they say and what they don't say. You know what I mean? Like, and so, we all remember Jeff George getting sacked in Dallas and ain't no old lineman helping him up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, Robert, too.
That's all you needed to know.
I remember he should have getting punched in the face in practice and no lineman, they say, huddle up.
Right. And you saw it this year with Zach Ertz when he was mic'd up. And what was it, the Atlanta game, I think, when somebody took a shot at 5 and he's like, hey, you don't do that to my quarterback.
Right.
Those guys, no, that's for real. Like they believe in that guy. Like he's made them believe. And that's a powerful thing. Powerful thing.
And dude, I think that stuff starts with the work ethic. It starts with him being there before. You know what those linemen love? Seeing his car when they get there.
That's right.
And
that's right.
All that stuff makes a huge difference.
Yeah, they know this guy's for real.
Yep.
Like he can't get to the checks and the things that he does and the sliding the protections and all the things he does on the offense, in real time with the play clock running down. If he doesn't know that playbook,
there you go.
If he doesn't know exactly what to do, and he didn't get any, well, I'm sure he got some things wrong, but he didn't get many things wrong in that regard all season. And again, that just shows you he's been in the playbook. He's taken this for real. He understands the O-line, what they need to do, and he gets them. They kept talking about it as they played, in Detroit and in Tampa Bay, how they knew exactly what they were going to do, and they knew exactly what the check was because they had worked on it. And when Jayden gave them the call, it was the right call. So that's why they were able to execute in Ford Field in front of 80,000 people, cheer, making that
loud
kind of noise.
Hell.
And they didn't have one false start penalty the whole game. Just think about that.
Yeah.
In a playoff game, they have one false start, because they knew what the hell they were doing because the quarterback put them in the right position every time.
Yeah.
Totally.
We kind of knew that when he checked off in the preseason game through the touchdown to Diami. The deep ball down the field. Like, hey, don't do that yet.
Right.
Like, hell, y'all made me learn it. I'm going to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
DA, last thing from me, dude. I think they keep Cliff another year. Do you?
Yeah, I think so. Right. I mean, the only job is the Saints. I just no disrespect to the Saints, but I can't imagine you would leave this job for the Saints. Like right now, they don't really have a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like going forward, it's kind of a rebuild. I just can't see that being the job that you walk away from Jayden Daniels for. I mean, you got to remember, that's a powerful thing. He's working with Jayden Daniels now.
Totally,
So for him, I remember Tom Moore never left Peyton Manning, right? Like Tom Moore stayed with Peyton Manning for 15 years in Indianapolis, right? He could have gone somewhere else.
That might have been the easiest job in the world right there because Peyton called all the plays for the line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
You don't remember Peyton's success was because of Adam Gase. That's why he got 2 jobs.
Right.
That's what Adam Gase wants you to think.
Right. So I'm not saying, look, I think Cliff's going to leave it inevitably for a head coach because he's a young man. He wants to be a head coach again. So, and I get that. That's fine. I just don't know that it'll be next year. I agree with you. I think he's probably there for another year, and that'll be great because they can build on this season and take do some different things with the playbook. And as the personnel improves, and I think they will, and that's another reason for incredible optimism because I think Adam Peters knows what the hell he's doing.
Right.
And they will draft well. I do not think they will. I don't think we're going to have, what's the number, 10 out of 31 draft picks not be on this team in 2 years.
Right.
I'll be very surprised if that happened with this group. So they're going to pick the right people to make it better and easier for Jayden Daniels going forward.
DA, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
All right, Dave.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Take care, man.
David Aldridge from The Athletic. Give him a follow at David Aldridge DC.